this new information about the trips taken with Ghislaine Maxwell and Bill Clinton. So this is some interesting information, especially the part where they might have had an affair. That's just new. So Apple recently released a long-awaited privacy feature that prevents you from being tracked across websites. Facebook relied on tracking more than any other business, so it's no surprise that they're trying to change this. Apple users now have the ability to choose whether or not they want to be tracked. Opting out will prevent their data from being used for ultra-targeted ads across the web. While this is a step in the right direction, this new feature won't completely protect you online. To do that, you need a VPN. This is why I highly recommend Virtual Shield. Right now, Virtual Shield is offering 50% off for life to my subscribers this month. I keep Virtual Shield turned on the entire time on my computer or smartphone, and I never felt safer. It's the easiest and quickest way to make yourself anonymous online, and all it takes is a push of a button. Once it's on, my browsing data is hidden from my ISP, corporations, and hackers. Try Virtual Shield risk-free for 30 days with another 30-day money-back guarantee by visiting www.virtualshield.com/NatlyDenise. That's www.virtualshield.com/NatlyDenise and get 50% off for life by signing up this month. Muchachos y muchachas. So we have a few new stories or new bits of information on the whole Epstein saga, more pertinent to Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell, as you guys know, there have been recent troves of documents that have been unsealed. So I'm sure slowly but surely we will learn a lot more information. But there's some new information in regards to her relationship with Bill Clinton. There are some newly discovered trips that they took together, and it's all via a new podcast. Now, I'm not sure whether this podcast or the unsealing of documents gave leeway for this information to come out on this podcast. I'm not sure what the relationship is between that, or if there is even a relationship at all. But apparently there is a news reporter that was very apparent on the scene or knew of the scene and is reporting some new information. Let's take a look here. And we go. Exclusive. Ghislaine Maxwell used Bill Clinton to escape from her sick partnership with Jeffrey Epstein. As it revealed, the former president joined them on 2 previously undisclosed trips to India, China, Japan, and Taiwan. A nude podcast, which I am totally excited for if there's some new information, reveals that a former president flew on Epstein's jet, which was dubbed Lolita Express, in February 2005 while visiting Japan, Taiwan, and China. He also took a private jet owned by billionaire Ron Burkle, who, if you guys don't know who Ron Burkle is, it's actually pretty interesting. He is a grocery store magnate, big time mogul. He was big time friends with Bill Clinton and was known to also participate in, I believe trips with Epstein. He's in his little black book. I know that, but I'm not sure how often, but I know that there was a triangle of friends: Epstein, Bill Clinton, and Ron Burkle. And there was another guy. He was a movie producer. His name is escaping me right now, but he actually fell to his death last year or the year before. And they were all a circle of friends. So just so you know who Ron Burkle is. That visit was part of Clinton's work with the Clinton Foundation, his philanthropic initiative to lower the cost of AIDS drugs. According to a journalist, Vicky Ward, Maxwell was also part of the official Clinton party and even stayed at the same hotel as him. Ward reveals the details in her new podcast, Chasing Ghislaine, which is available from Thursday on Audible Originals. And it continues. The podcast claims that Maxwell used Clinton for her escape from Epstein in the 2000s when her relationship with the financier was cooling. So obviously there was a breaking point between Maxwell and Epstein, and this is what they're talking about. Maxwell was considered by Clinton's personal staff to be just as important as Epstein for raising money for the Clinton Foundation, and was the go-to person when it came to asking for donations from the you know what? Trying not to trigger those covering algorithms. The claims put new focus on a friendship between the former president and Epstein, who perished. They're going to say he did something else. Flight logs show that Clinton took at least 26 trips on the Lolita Express. Clinton has always denied any involvement, and we'll skip down here. Records have recently shown that in 2003, Ghislaine visited the Taj Mahal with Bill Clinton and a group of 20 others. This trip was not previously been reported. Jeffrey wasn't on it, and it was a key to cementing Ghislaine's rise as a VIP in her own right in the Clinton world, according to sources close to Bill Clinton. Ward claims that the trip in November that year was aboard a private jet owned by Ron Burkle. Now, I gave you guys a little bit of a rundown. Gosh, Steve Bing, that's the person I'm thinking about. Steve Bing. So if you type into Google Steve Bing, he actually was a movie producer. I believe he bankrolled some films also, but he fell to his death. I believe it was some recent years, either last year or the year before, but he fell to his death from his apartment. It was a very cryptic, weird death. Obviously Bill Clinton was one of his close friends. He did respond with a statement, something generic like, sad to see him go, whatever. But just know that Ron Burkle, Steve Bing, Epstein, did I say Bill Clinton? Yeah, they all hung together. They were, and Ron Burkle's, people don't know this, Ron Burkle himself had a private jet, and the name of the private jet was called Air F1, the F being an explicit word. You guys know what I'm talking about. Air F1. Yep. So they were known to be party boys, Epstein, Steve Bing, and Bill Clinton, according to an article in Vanity Fair, at least. So I just wanted to give you guys a little background. A lot of people don't know that about Ron Burkle, Steve Bing, and Bill Clinton and Epstein. So anyway, where was I? A report. Ward claims that the trip in November that year was aboard on a private jet owned by Ron Burkle, a close friend of the billionaire who raised $10 million for the Clintons before falling out with him. Oh, and also, just a little knowledge for you guys. Bill Clinton, right when he got out of his presidency, he worked for Ron Burkle for a little bit of time, which is, to me it was a little strange, but he was apparently some sort of consultant, I don't know, high executive level consultant to Ron Burkle in his empire or whatever. But yeah, that's weird information, but it's true. So anyway, a report by Kaiser Health News from November 2003 talks about Clinton visiting a generic drug maker to show support for lowering the cost for drugs. A press release by the Clinton Foundation from 2006 refers to Clinton visiting India in November 2003, where pharmaceutical companies agreed to lower the price of antiretroviral medicines. Sorry, I tried. I'm not perfect. Used to treat HIV by more than 50%. Ward describes Maxwell as being part of the 20 or so people who traveled with Clinton and stayed at his hotel. Maxwell's friend, Christopher Mason, a British journalist, tells the podcast, "She was always, on her way to something to see someone extraordinary of importance. She was very excited by what she was about to do, and she told me that she was off to see Bill Clinton, and that seemed to be the late motif in her conversation for a long time." And it also continues in the podcast. "I've also recently learned from sources close to Bill Clinton that he and his post-presidency staff considered Ghislaine to be just as important as Jeffrey, if not more." Interesting. She was the go-to person for financial asks for Jeffrey's money by the Clinton Foundation and the Global Initiative. Those asks include Epstein and Maxwell contributing high six-figure sum in 2005 to be founding members of the Clinton Global Initiative, another one of Clinton's philanthropic endeavors. And she continues, this meant that Ghislaine was constantly being asked to Clinton VIP gatherings. There were heads of state where there were important businessmen like Bill Gates and Google's co-founder, Sergey Brin. Flight logs from one of the flights, as you guys know, he took 26 flights on the Lolita Express. And it includes trips to Asia and Africa, where he was doing work for the Clinton Foundation. A photo from 2002 on Africa, the trip shows Clinton standing on the steps of the Epstein's plane with his arm on the shoulder of smiling Maxwell. And it just kind of goes into all the other celebrities. Obviously, you guys know that Chris Tucker, Kevin Spacey, Bill Clinton, all great guests of the Lolita Express. This is the photo that they're talking about with Bill Clinton on the steps of the Lolita Express with Ghislaine, looking a little chummy there. Looking a little bit chummy. Ward reveals for the first time another trip that Clinton took on Epstein's jet in February 2005 to China, Taiwan, and Japan to promote his memoirs. Ward says that in the podcast, they were joined by Ted Wade, a billionaire who ran Gateway Computers. He was at a dinner in Beijing. This was the start of Ghislaine's next chapter, say two sources close to Clinton. From that moment on, Ghislaine and Ted got tighter and tighter. Jeffrey seemed to be completely left behind. Maxwell would go on a date. Maxwell would go on to date Wade for some years, and he would become her first serious boyfriend after Epstein. Yeah, so if you guys know or remember, if you're a millennial or older, then you'll know this. But there was a computer called Gateway, and this guy, what's his first name? Did they give us his first? Ted Wade. That he was basically the guy who ran it. He was the head honcho of Gateway Computers. So Ghislaine Maxwell dated him, and there was actually a yacht I believe it was a yacht they had together. It's kind of crazy. I just know this information in the back of my head about Ghislaine and all these other, these extra details. The New York Times reporting on Clinton's stop to Taiwan said that they arrived from Japan by private plane, but gave no further details. In Taiwan, Clinton met the country's foreign minister, Chen Tan-soon, and had dinner with the president, Chen Soo-bian. It is not known if Epstein was president. A report by China Daily talks about Clinton signing an agreement with the Chinese health ministry to provide $70,000 worth of AIDS drugs after landing in China. It's not known what kind of access Epstein got to high-level Chinese officials, if any. Maxwell and Epstein's friendship with Clinton dates back to at least 1993 when they attended a reception at the White House where they shook hands with him while he was president. And then it goes into some detail here. Here we go. There was a book that was written covering Jeffrey Epstein and the demise of him, and then it claimed that Clinton and Maxwell were having an affair, and it was her he was interested in rather than Epstein's young underage girls. Clinton was denied, but a convenient death claimed that Clinton visited Maxwell's $11 million townhouse in Manhattan multiple times. The pair were spotted together dining at the upscale restaurant Nello in Madison Avenue, according to a 2002 New York Magazine article. When Clinton went to an education charity gala in late 2001, Maxwell was reportedly his date. His wife, Hillary, did not attend. Even to Epstein's 2007 plea deal, under which he served 15 months in prison for having sex with underage girls, did not end the friendship between the Clintons and Maxwell. So, carrying on, as you guys can see, there is a lot of new information on Ghislaine specifically. Something that I found interesting in this article is that they mentioned that Ghislaine might have been more important than Jeffrey Epstein himself. I find that detail pretty startling. Now, when it comes to the affair with Bill Clinton, that's something new as well. Now, this is just another thing that came out today in regards to Epstein. This is something that's more, it's more confirmation than it is new information. I think a lot of people already suspected Jeffrey Epstein being a spy of some sort, but there is just this one extra source or resource that is just sort of confirming it by their own witness account. Ponzi schemer who was conned out of $100 million by Jeffrey Epstein suggests dead pedophile billionaire was a spy who moved in intelligence circles and was introduced to Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert, by a British arms dealer. This is not new information. Once again, this is just another person who's more confirming what we suspected. Maybe if this person's telling the truth. So the Ponzi schemer, his name is Steven Hoffenberg, claims that the dead Epstein moved in intelligence circles and was introduced to Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert, by British arms dealer. Hoffenberg served 18 years in prison after pleading guilty back in 1995 for bilking investors out of more than $450 billion when he was running Towers Financial. Epstein worked for Hoffenberg at Towers Financial as a paid consultant in the 1980s. He made the claims about Epstein in an interview with British journalist Vicky Ward back in 2002 while he was serving that prison sentence in Massachusetts. Among the allegations that was made was that Epstein ran in intelligence circles and that one of his mentors was a British defense contractor named Douglas Leese. Leese, who died in 2011, was an arms dealer. According to Hoffenberg, Leese's son denies, but did say that his father was a mentor to Epstein back in the 1980s. Hoffenberg, who was claimed to know Leese, alleged that the defense contractor introduced Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell's late father, Robert Maxwell, aristocratic Europeans, and people in the arms business. Four separate sources ranging from former arms dealers to ex-spies said that the Epstein went on to work for various governments, including the Israelis, through his arms dealing work, according to Ward's Rolling Stone report. Ward, who has a documentary coming out about Ghislaine, reports that Robert Maxwell introduced Epstein to Israeli leaders and used him as part of an influence campaign. So a lot of new information, and Virginia Roberts, Giuffre's lawyers are just going after Ghislaine and mocking her because she apparently said that she didn't know any of this information, especially that with her and Bill Clinton. So a lot of information coming out about this, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about this new information about the trips taken with Ghislaine Maxwell and Bill Clinton. This was not previously disclosed on the flight logs, or at least in the information that was originally released in 2019, the major troves. So this is some interesting information, especially the part where they might have had an affair. That's just new. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Do you think that there will be more information coming out? Do you think that this is just the beginning of some explosive information that should come out before September? Or do you think that we'll have to wait and see? Guys, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for liking this video, sharing, subscribing, and telling somebody about the channel. I really appreciate it. Guys, thank you for supporting the channel, and you can do so by either buying me a coffee. I need a lot of caffeine to do these edits, or you can go to natlydenise.com/donate and make a contribution. You guys rock. I love you. I'll see you in the next video. Muchachos y muchachas, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are a lot more videos like that and more on my new platform, natlydenise.tv, where you can also catch some of my old documentaries that you guys loved so much last year. That plus more. I just launched a new membership, Natly Denise Exclusives, in which we'll host new content, very exclusive content, some of which is based and unpopular with the mainstream, so therefore it has to be hosted there. Please consider signing up at natlydenise.tv. Also, please remember that I have a merch store, natlyDeniseGear.com, which is also linked in my description below, in which a portion of every single sale will go towards human trafficking rescue and aftercare. Thank you guys so much for your support. See you later.
Goodbye.